Most people hear the word artemisinin and think it's just another trendy herbal supplement, but here's the twist. A single plant chemical behind artemisinin helped change the global fight against malaria and even led to a Nobel Prize. And that success story is exactly why artemisinin gets misunderstood today. In this video, you're going to learn what artemisinin actually is, what it can and cannot do in your body, why the way it works is both fascinating and risky to oversimplify, and how to think about food, supplements, dosing ranges, and quality without falling into hype. Quick safety reminder before we go further. If you're considering adding or stopping any supplement or medication, especially something with drug-like effects, talk with a qualified clinician or pharmacist who can look at your full situation. So, what is artemisinin? Think of it like a specialized tool, not a vitamin. Artemisinin is a natural compound originally isolated from a plant called Artemisia annua, often called sweet wormwood. Not the same wormwood people associate with absinthe. Sweet wormwood has been used in traditional medicine, but artemisinin is the specific purified molecule that became famous because of malaria treatment. A helpful analogy is this: if the plant is a whole toolbox, artemisinin is one very sharp, very specific wrench. It's powerful in the right job, but if you try to use it for every repair in your house, you can damage things you didn't mean to. Now let's talk about how it works in your body in simple terms. Artemisinin has a unique chemical feature that's like a spring-loaded snap. When it meets certain forms of iron, especially the kind involved in breaking down hemoglobin, that snap can trigger a burst of reactive chemistry. You can think of it like a tiny spark that goes off in the right environment. Malaria parasites create that environment inside red blood cells, which is a big reason artemisinin-based medicines can hit them so hard. Mechanism number 1 is that iron-triggered spark effect, which creates stress the parasite can't handle well. Mechanism number 2 is that the damage from that stress can mess with important parasite proteins and membranes, basically disrupting how it functions and survives. Mechanism number 3, in broader lab research, is that artemisinin and related compounds seem to influence inflammation and cell signaling. But here's the key. That third bucket is where a lot of the internet claims live, and a lot of the evidence is early, meaning test tubes, animals, or small human studies that don't automatically translate into real-world results. Does your body make artemisinin naturally? No, this is not something your liver produces, and it's not like vitamin D where sunlight helps you make more. Artemisinin only comes from external sources, mainly the plant or pharmaceuticals derived from it. And because your body treats it like a foreign compound, it processes it through the same detox and metabolism systems it uses for many drugs. That matters for interactions and for why effects can change over time. Here's where things get very practical. When people ask, what foods should I eat to get artemisinin? The honest answer is, there aren't normal everyday foods that reliably provide meaningful artemisinin in a consistent, measurable amount. The source is sweet wormwood, and most people are not eating that like spinach. Some people use teas, tinctures, or powders made from Artemisia annua, but the artemisinin content can vary a lot depending on the plant variety, how it was grown, how it was stored, and how it was extracted. Two bags that look the same can behave very differently. So instead of a food plan, the better daily habit is a decision habit. If your goal is general health, artemisinin is usually not the first tool you need. Your daily habits that actually move the needle are sleep, movement, fiber-rich foods, protein adequacy, and managing alcohol and ultra-processed foods. Those don't sound exciting, but they are predictable. Artemisinin is not predictable in the same way. When do supplements make sense? The strongest, clearest use of artemisinin is as part of prescription malaria treatment in combination therapies. That is medical care. It's not a DIY situation. If someone is talking about using artemisinin alone to treat malaria, that's a red flag, because malaria can become severe quickly, and incomplete or improper treatments can be dangerous for you and for drug resistance in the community. Outside of malaria, you'll see artemisinin marketed for all kinds of things, like parasite cleanses, immune support, and even more serious claims.
This is where you need to separate what's exciting in early research from what's proven in humans. In many of those areas, supplements are being used off-label in the informal sense, meaning not based on strong clinical guidelines. That doesn't automatically mean it never helps anyone, but it does mean you should treat it like something that requires extra caution and professional input. If your clinician does recommend an artemisinin supplement for a specific reason, here are the practical details people usually want. Forms first. You may see products labeled artemisinin, which is the isolated compound, or Artemisia annua extract, which is a mixture. Those are not the same. Artemisinin is more standardized in concept, but quality still varies. Extracts can contain many compounds and may have different effects and different risks. Dosing is tricky because outside of malaria treatment, there is no single universally accepted supplement dose supported by strong evidence. Over-the-counter capsules commonly come in the range of about 100 to 500 milligrams per capsule. Some people take it once daily, others split doses. But because this compound is processed by the liver, and because your body can ramp up how quickly it breaks it down, the effect can change with repeated use. That's one reason you'll hear people talk about cycling, like taking breaks. The problem is, cycling protocols are not standardized, and you don't want to copy a stranger's plan online, especially if you're on medications or have a medical condition. If you and your clinician choose to use it, a cautious approach usually means the lowest reasonable dose for the shortest reasonable time, with a clear goal and a plan to stop if problems show up.
Timing and absorption. Artemisinin is not like a mineral where you just take it with orange juice and you're done. Some people tolerate it better with food, some take it away from food for different reasons. There's no one rule that fits everyone. What does make sense is consistency. If you're monitoring how you feel, take it the same way each time so you can actually tell what's happening. And avoid stacking it with a bunch of new supplements at once, because then you can't tell what caused what. Quality markers matter a lot here. Look for third-party testing, clear labeling of the amount per serving, and a manufacturer that follows good manufacturing practices. Be cautious with proprietary blends that don't tell you the dose. Be cautious with products making extreme promises. Also, be cautious with anything that looks like it's blurring the line between supplement and prescription drug. If a product is implying it contains pharmaceutical derivatives, that's something to discuss with a pharmacist because legality and safety vary by country. Realistic cost. In many places, artemisinin supplements tend to land somewhere around $15 to $40 per month, depending on the dose and brand quality. If you're paying much more than that, you're often paying for marketing. If you're paying much less, you may be paying with quality. Now, who actually needs this? This is important. Artemisinin is not an essential nutrient. There is no artemisinin deficiency state the way there is an iron deficiency or vitamin B12 deficiency. So instead of asking, am I deficient? The better question is, do I have a specific, validated reason to use a drug-like compound? And do I have medical guidance? Here's a simple self-check you can do. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Am I trying to treat a serious infection or condition without a diagnosis? 2. Am I on any prescription medications, especially ones that have narrow dosing, like blood thinners, seizure medications, transplant medications, or certain heart drugs? 3. Do I have liver issues, heavy alcohol use, or a history of weird reactions to supplements? If you answered yes to any of those, artemisinin should not be a casual experiment. If you're considering artemisinin under medical supervision, the lab tests to discuss are usually basic safety monitoring, not a special artemisinin level. Think complete blood count, liver enzymes like AST and ALT, and sometimes kidney function, depending on your situation. And if the reason you're considering it is travel or fever after travel, the test you actually need is proper evaluation for malaria and other travel-related infections, not a supplement plan. Let's make this real with a few personas. First, the budget eater. You saw a social media clip saying artemisinin is a parasite cleanse and you're tempted because you feel tired and bloated. Here's the budget smart move.
Before you spend money on an aggressive supplement, spend a week tracking sleep, fiber, and alcohol. Aim for about 25 to 38 grams of fiber per day, which is roughly 0.9 to 1.3 ounces, by adding beans, oats, fruit, and vegetables. Many gut symptoms improve with basics, and you avoid the risk of taking something potent for the wrong reason. Second, the vegan. You like plant-based solutions, and you hear sweet wormwood is natural, so it must be gentle. Natural does not mean gentle. Artemisinin is a great example of a natural compound that acts more like a drug than a nutrient. If your goal is immune resilience, you'll usually get more predictable results from protein adequacy, vitamin B12 sufficiency, iron status if needed, and sleep. Artemisinin is not a foundational vegan supplement. Third, someone with a health condition and a medication list. Let's say you're older, you take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, and maybe a blood thinner, and you want artemisinin because you heard it's anti-inflammatory. This is where the risk goes up. Artemisinin can potentially change how your liver processes other compounds. That can mean your medication levels go up or down, and either direction can be dangerous. For you, the right move is to talk to your clinician or pharmacist before even buying it.
Now for the evidence reality check. For malaria, the evidence is strong. Artemisinin-based combination therapies are widely used and have been studied extensively in large human populations. That's the real success story. For many other claimed uses, the evidence is mixed or early. Mixed means some small human studies or preliminary findings look interesting, but results aren't consistent, and the studies may be short, with small groups, or without strong controls. Early means lab studies or animal studies, which are important for ideas, but not a promise for real outcomes in people. And one more complication. Different forms, different doses, and different durations can change results, so you can't always compare studies easily. What we still don't know well includes the safest and most effective long-term dosing strategies for non-malaria uses, who might benefit the most versus who is more likely to have side effects, and how to manage interactions reliably across different medication combinations. So if someone online sounds 100% certain that artemisinin is the answer for everything, they're skipping the hard part of science. Now, safety and interactions. The most common side effects people report tend to be stomach-related, like nausea, cramping, or diarrhea, plus headache or dizziness. Some people notice sleep changes or feeling wired. Less commonly, people can have allergic reactions. Rarely, there can be changes in liver enzymes or blood counts. Rare does not mean impossible, and it's one more reason not to treat it like a casual multivitamin. Medication interactions that matter are mostly about metabolism. Artemisinin can influence liver enzymes that break down many drugs. That means it could potentially lower the effectiveness of some medications or increase side effects of others, depending on the medication in the person. This is especially important if you take blood thinners, seizure medications, certain antidepressants, immune-suppressing drugs, HIV medications, or chemotherapy-related drugs. Also be cautious if you're stacking multiple supplements that already stress the liver, like high-dose green tea extract or megadoses of vitamin A. Special populations. If you were pregnant, trying to become pregnant, or breastfeeding, don't self-supplement with artemisinin. Malaria in pregnancy is serious and requires professional care, but that's not the same as taking an over-the-counter supplement. If you're elderly, have liver disease, have a history of seizures, or have complex medical conditions, get professional guidance first. Red flags to stop and seek help include trouble breathing, facial swelling, or widespread rash, which can signal an allergic reaction. Also dark urine, yellowing of the skin or eyes, severe fatigue out of proportion, or persistent vomiting. And if you're taking it for an infection-like concern and you're getting worse, not better, that's not a time to double down on supplements. That's a time to get evaluated. Okay, lightning round myth busting. Myth 1. If it's from a plant, it can't be that strong. Artemisinin is plant-derived and still acts like a potent, targeted chemical. Myth 2. If it worked for malaria, it must work for whatever I'm dealing with.
Malaria is a very specific target, and success in one context does not automatically translate to other conditions. Myth 3. More is better, so higher doses will work faster. With compounds like this, more can just mean more side effects, more interactions, and more confusion about what's actually happening. Let's wrap it up. Artemisinin is a specific compound from sweet wormwood that became famous for its role in effective malaria treatment when used properly in combination therapies. Your body does not make it naturally, and it's not a nutrient you're meant to top up daily. Its main claim to fame is a mechanism that creates stress in the right environment, which is great for certain parasites. But that same power is why you have to respect safety, dose, and interactions. For other uses, the evidence ranges from mixed to early, and the smartest approach is cautious, short-term, and supervised if you use it at all. One specific action you can take today is this. If artemisinin is on your radar, write down why you want it in one sentence and then run that sentence past a pharmacist or clinician along with your medication list. That one step can save you money and reduce risk. Have you seen artemisinin hyped for something other than malaria, and what claim caught your attention? Drop it in the comments and let us know what supplement you would like to learn about next.